They said she stole the sky, but they never told me she'd steal my will to live without her. Asterisk, if that sent a chill through you, hit subscribe and stay with us through the fire, the stars, and the surrender. This one goes beyond flesh. Asterisk, let's start our story for today. Asterisk, when the sky cracked open, it wasn't war that poured through, it was her. Her ship didn't land. It hovered, silent and uninvited, above the Pacific for 6 full days. Earth called her an invader. The news called her a queen. But I called her something else the moment her image flickered onto that first broadcast. Divine. I don't know if it was the eyes, glimmering like stolen starlight, or the way her silver skin shimmered with untranslatable runes that pulsed like breath. Maybe it was the silence in her voice, the way she spoke in a tone that made generals kneel and satellites glitch. Whatever it was, I stopped being a soldier the moment I saw her. I stopped being human, too, when the order came for me to approach her ship. Me, just another former intel grunt turned diplomatic liaison. I didn't think. I moved. They dressed me in a suit, told me not to speak unless spoken to, but the second the chamber doors opened and I saw her standing there barefoot, radiant, draped in strands of sky-colored silk that didn't seem to touch high. Forgot everything Earth ever taught me about power. Your planet is fractured, she said, not unkindly, but your voice isn't. Speak. I should have told her what the committee scripted, that Earth would negotiate peace, that we were willing to share, that we didn't want war. But what I said instead was, you've taken the sky. What more do you want? Her smile, it didn't warm me. It undressed me. Not want, need. She walked toward me then. Every step felt like it shifted the gravity in the room. My knees didn't buckle because I was weak. They buckled because somewhere deep inside me, something already knew. She wasn't here to conquer the world. She was here to claim something else. Your name, she whispered, lifting a single glowing finger to my jaw. Tell me what your soul is called. I told her. And then she kissed me. Not a war-starting, protocol-breaking, camera-dodging kiss. No, it was ancient, like the collision of galaxies. Her lips weren't soft. They were knowing. I tasted storms. I tasted every death Earth ever buried, and every secret our skies tried to keep hidden. When she pulled away, I didn't breathe for what felt like centuries. You belong to me now, she said gently. And Earth will understand that soon. If you're still here, you already feel it. This isn't just a surrender. Keep watching, because what happens next will question everything we call love, and everything we call human. Asterisk, they took me off the mission after that, said I was compromised, said the Queen. Her name, unspoken, still had manipulated me. But how do you explain that it wasn't her that got inside me? It was the way she made everything else fall away. Nations threatened orbital strikes. She responded by asterisk blacking out every satellite, except the one showing my face in her chamber. She didn't just want Earth to surrender. She wanted Earth too. No, it was me she chose. And I couldn't sleep. Not because of guilt, because of need. Something inside me was no longer mine. It beat in sync with the stars now. It called for her, burned for her. Every night I looked at the sky and saw her. I wasn't her prisoner. I was her echo, and I'd give up the world to feel her mouth on mine again. Asterisk, they told me she left Earth's orbit after the global blackout. That her ship vanished without trace, like a ghost receding into the folds of space. But I knew better. She wasn't gone. She was waiting not for war, not for peace, but for me. I felt her inside every frequency I tried to ignore. Every static buzz on the radio sounded like her breath against my ear. I dreamed of her skin, not cold like metal, but warm like moonlight soaked in secrets. And one night, God help me, she answered. I woke to find my apartment lit in violet haze. The air pulsed. Time stilled. And there, standing at the foot of my bed in silence, was the queen who stole Earth's sky. No ship, no guards, just her. She or nothing of this world, just thin waves of something glowing and fluid, wrapping her like whispered shadows. Her eyes glowed gold. Her voice didn't come from her lips. It hummed in my chest. "You dream of me," she said. I couldn't speak. My hands clenched the sheets like I might fall off the earth if I didn't. "You carry grief," she whispered, moving closer. "Your world filled you with war, silence, shame. But I can take that from you." I shook my head. "You can't." Just her hand touched my forehead, and then the world disappeared. She didn't just visit him, she rewrote the way he remembered pain. "Stay with us because this isn't just love. This is rebirth. Like, comment, and subscribe if you feel the pull too." Flashes, screams, the desert, my first kill, my brother's letter after the riots, the face of the girl who left when I couldn't sleep without nightmares. They all surfaced. My memories, my guilt, all of it cracked open inside me. And then, she kissed me, not on the mouth, on the memories. She pressed her lips to my temple, and everything ugly dissolved. The pain didn't vanish. It transformed. I watched my past turn into something tender, not erased, understood. She didn't make me forget. She made it bearable. "I will not take what made you," she said, pulling back with something like reverence. "I will only take what hurts." I cried then, in her arms. Not because I was weak, but because I had never ever felt seen like this. Earth taught me to hide emotion. She taught me that my soul wasn't meant to rot in silence. And when she kissed my mouth, again this time real, I didn't resist. I opened to her like the sky she once stole. She didn't rush. She didn't rush. She remembered me. Her hands traced the shape of every scar, every hesitation. Her body moved like she had memorized the weight of gravity itself. She wasn't human, but her touch knew how to make mine feel infinite. No commander, no queen, just two broken things, finding poetry in the wreckage. "I don't want to belong to a world," I whispered, fingers tangled in her glowing hair. "I want to belong to you." Her eyes shivered. For the first time, she was the one trembling. "You already do," she said, "and we didn't sleep, because sleep is for those who forget." But she was teaching me how to remember. They say lightning only strikes where the air is wounded, split wide open by heat, sound, or fate. That night, her voice did the same to me. It didn't start with touch. It started with a whisper, not in English, not even in sound. It was a frequency, something that danced along the edge of perception, brushing against every nerve like a secret I had always known but could never say aloud. I was standing on the rooftop of the compound. They'd locked me inside after she left again, my so-called debriefing sanctuary. Steel walls, armed guards, white coats who poked and prodded and scribbled notes when I spoke her name in my sleep. But the second her voice hit my skin, every camera blinked out, and I opened. I dropped to my knees under the weight of it. Her voice, her summoning dot, like lightning down my spine, like thunder that hummed not in the sky, but in my bones. I stood before I could stop myself, walked to the railing, and she was there, hovering inches above the rooftop floor, eyes burning with pale fire, her silken form cloaked in radiant blue, like she was carved from nebula. "You are not a soldier," she said, voice vibrating the iron beneath my feet. "No," I breathed. "I'm yours." If you've ever felt someone before they touched you, then you know exactly what this is. Subscribe, and let the story strike deeper. She landed without sound. Only her breath reached me, and even that felt like thunder, restrained by kindness. She didn't ask for permission this time. She commanded, with just a single word in her language. The shackles around my soul fell off like chains turned to ash. I could feel it, every doubt, every memory they tried to poison me with, burning away under her gaze. Then she said my name, not the way humans do. Not like a call, like an invocation. And my body reacted. Muscles tensed, breath halted, blood surged to the surface of my skin like my cells themselves wanted to answer her. Her voice unlocked something beneath language, a version of me so ancient, so primal, I could only kneel before her and offer. I feel you, she whispered, kneeling with me, pressing her palm to my chest. The moment her skin touched mine, lightning ripped through my nervous system, pure, controlled, intimate fire. She wasn't burning me, she was igniting me, and I didn't scream. I exhaled, like my body had waited lifetimes to be set ablaze by a single touch. She moved over me, fingers leaving trails of heat where they traced collarbone, throat, jaw. Every brush of her hand felt like a vow, and when our mouths met again, the sky cracked open above us. It wasn't metaphor. The clouds split, the moon dimmed, and every guard below forgot their orders, because love, this consuming, rewrites reality. We didn't rush. She let me learn her body like a language, and I let her speak into my skin like she was writing psalms with her lips. We didn't make love, we made light, and when it was over, I wasn't empty. I was alive. She laid her forehead against mine, both of us still glowing faintly in the dark, and whispered, "You were made for more than war." I nodded. I was made for you. Asterisk, they came for her at dawn. Earth's great response ships like wasps, in formation, jets streaking across the bleeding sky, missiles glinting like sharp teeth in the sun. Humanity's final tantrum dressed as diplomacy. They told the world she was a threat, that she had tampered with one of our own, that me was compromised. But what they didn't know was that I had already surrendered, not to war, not to invasion, to her. And she was no longer something I could betray. She stood beside me on the rooftop as the alarms screamed. No fear in her stance, no anger in her breath. Just the wind curling through her glowing hair and her gaze fixed on the swarm above. "They demand I return," she said softly, her voice like silk unraveling across stone. I turned to her. "Will you go? I will not break your world." "You didn't break anything," I said. "You saved what was left." She turned to me then, and I saw it something flicker in her expression. Not power, not pity, longing. "I should let them take me," she whispered, "to keep you safe." "No," I stepped in front of her, hands trembling, heart already bleeding. "They don't get to have you. When love makes you stand against everything you were taught to protect. That's not madness. That's truth." Asterisk, like and subscribe, because the real war starts now. The rooftop shook as Earth's drones descended. I knew the protocols: suppress the alien, detain the liaison, use force if necessary. But I also knew her, and I knew she would let them take her, if I let her. So I didn't. I grabbed her hand, raised our arms together toward the sky like some desperate prayer, and for the first time, she looked uncertain. "You would face them?" she asked. "For me?" I nodded. "Not for you, for us." She inhaled sharply, and then it happened. Her skin began to glow. Not with the soft light I knew, but with power drawn from the very sky they accused her of stealing. The drones paused midair. The soldiers below lost connection. Everything around us bent slightly, as if the world itself considered bowing. She looked down at me. "If I answer their fire, they'll call it an act of war." "Then don't answer it," I whispered. "Refuse it, the way I refused their fear." She turned to the sky and raised her voice, not in violence, but in language, her native tongue impossibly beautiful, raw, rhythmic, like thunder wrapped in poetry. Every device on Earth shut off for 22 seconds. Every weapon froze in midair, and every man listening felt it. Not rage, not power, but love. Weaponized, undeniable, and foreign in its purity. I didn't fall to my knees. I stepped closer, wrapped my arms around her body, glowing like a star, and said, They can't take what's already been chosen. They didn't shoot, not that day. Maybe it was fear. Maybe it was AW, or maybe somewhere inside them. They saw what I did. The future wasn't in their warheads, it was in her arms. They never admitted they stood down that night. There was no press release, no global broadcast, just silence. The kind that hums like the end of an old song, heavy with meaning, light with relief. Earth didn't welcome her. It didn't trust her, but it stopped fighting her, and for us, that was enough. The sky stayed still for 3 nights. No jets, no ships, no questions. And in that fragile pause between panic and peace, she took me far above it, beyond clouds, beyond gravity, beyond every lie I was born into. Her ship, if you could even call it, that was alive, pulsing, breathing, suspended in starlight. It opened for her like a lover, closed around us like a vow. I stood inside that cathedral of constellations and felt smaller than ever, and yet completely whole. She touched the center of my chest and said, "This is not a rescue." I looked up. Then what is it? Return. This isn't the end of Earth. It's the beginning of everything else. Like, subscribe, and hold on, because love just rewrote the stars. Asterisk, she showed me what her kind calls remembrance, not memories, not facts, but the feeling of being part of something that has no beginning and no end. I saw stars birthed from the hands of her ancestors, saw her people touch galaxies like music, saw war and healing, saw loss, saw yearning, and I saw her dot alone, watching Earth from afar for generations. "You weren't the first human I saw," she said softly, "but you were the first one who didn't look away." I reached for her hand. "Because you didn't come to conquer." "No," she said, brushing her lips across mine. "I came to belong." That night, wrapped in starlight and each other's skin, we made something more than love. We made peace. The kind that hums in your bones. The kind that doesn't need a treaty or a name. Our bodies moved like twin stars caught in orbit, not crashing but surrendering in harmony. She was infinite, but that night, she let me be her gravity. Her touch wasn't fire anymore. It was thunder answered, and when I whispered her true name, unpronounceable, sacred, spoken only once in a lifetime, she gasped like she'd waited centuries to be known. We didn't just burn, we glowed. When we returned to Earth, they didn't meet us with guns. They met us with questions. But I didn't answer. She didn't need to, because the sky had already told them everything. Her ship hovered only once, more long enough to make its presence known, not feared. Then it disappeared again into the stars. But she stayed, for me, because Earth never had a queen before, and I was done living like a subject of fear. We live far from the cities now, somewhere quiet, somewhere the stars can see us clearly. She still glows when she sleeps, still hums in her own language when she dreams. And sometimes, when I whisper that name into the hollow of her throat, her whole body arches like lightning is remembering the way home. They said she took the sky. They were wrong. She gave it back to us. But she took something far more precious, me, and I never wanted returned. End of story.